On today's podcast, we're going to be identifying the 3 types of mental baggage all humans carry with them in their life and certainly exist within the team or organization they serve. What mental baggage are you carrying, and in what ways can you carry it more gracefully?
Welcome back to the Thermostat with Jason Barger. If you're currently on a commute, a walk, or just a micro break in your day, glad you're making time to step back, to think, and to reflect on the next steps on your journey. I've never been more convinced the best leaders and team cultures in the world are the ones that make time to step back, breathe in good oxygen, and calibrate their thermostat. I hope today's conversation leaves you feeling grounded and inspired. Now let's dive into today's topic to engage our minds and hearts in order to authentically lead and create compelling cultures wherever we are in the world.
Hey everybody, it's Jason, and welcome back to the Thermostat podcast. Wherever you are and however you're coming to the pod today, welcome in. So glad you are here. We are at well over 220 episodes now on the podcast. So if you are new to the podcast, welcome in. So glad this continues to grow and spread. And if you are one of the OGs that have been with us from the very beginning, so glad this continues to add value and contribute to your life and your work. My commitment to you, as always, is that hopefully this is a place for you to step back, for you to breathe, for you to think about the temperature that you're trying to set in your life, for your work, for the people around you, and the culture that you're creating. So glad you are here. Before we dive into today's topic, if you will do me the quick favor and you will rate the podcast 5 stars, of course, on whatever platform you are using, that is a really helpful way for us. And the algorithms, this is just the way it works. So I keep being told to keep saying that. So thank you for everybody that does that. Anybody that leaves a positive review in your own words on whatever site or platform you used for your podcast, that is always really helpful. Again, authentic, what resonated with you about different episodes. And then obviously everybody who shares an episode or a topic or something that resonates with you, share it with your friends, share it with colleagues, say, hey, on your team at work, hey, there's a topic we ought to get together and talk about. Those are the ways in which the messages amplify and have an even bigger impact. And obviously that is the point of all of this. So thanks to everybody that takes a moment to do that. All an organization is a collection of humans. I say this all the time. All an organization is a collection of humans. An organization is a bunch of humans who have come together to accomplish something they can't on their own. An organization is just a collection of humans. And with that comes imperfections, because no human is perfect, right? We all are imperfect, myself included. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And, so we all are imperfect, and every organization is imperfect. I am yet to meet the perfect leader, the perfect team, the perfect organization. So all an organization, everybody that comes together is imperfect, but the best organizations are the ones that embrace the imperfections of their people and help support them to bring their gifts, strengths, contributions that they can uniquely serve for the mission. The best organizations help support all of us humans in our own development through the human experience, and the outcome then becomes better work performance and more meaningful work cultures. So, on today's podcast, we're going to be identifying the 3 types of mental baggage all humans carry with them in their life and certainly exist within the team or organization they serve. What mental baggage are you carrying, and in what ways can you carry it more gracefully? But before we dive into today's topic, let's pause, take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Many teams and organizations right now are realizing that they need to do both. They need to engage the minds and hearts of their people in person, where everyone in the room can experience the energy of congregating together and find clarity for the road ahead. And they also need to continue to find ways to engage the minds and hearts of their people virtually, with those who are working remotely or at a distance. So, if you are in the process of planning your next team meeting, company all-hands event, conference or culture summit and are looking for support with a powerful keynote speech, facilitated team conversations that are the currency for change, or deeper development on leadership mindset and an intentional strategy for the culture you're trying to create, I hope you'll contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. It is my privilege and our honor to partner with great people to provide support in these areas. We want to breathe oxygen into your leaders and throughout your organization so you can set the temperature you want for your culture. We look forward to connecting with you soon. I hope you'll contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. It is my privilege and our honor to partner with great people to provide support in these areas. We want to breathe oxygen into your leaders and throughout your organization so you can set the temperature you want for your culture. We look forward to connecting with you soon.
Again, none of us are perfect. No person is, no team is, no organization is. The best are able to embrace the imperfections of the humans that are involved and then leverage their strengths, their gifts, their contributions for the mission. The best cultures help develop and support their people so that they can make sense of their humanness. They help people make sense of their own humanness and then continue to bring their very best to the table for whatever it is, whatever product or service your organization provides, so that the human beings involved can bring their best to the table. And those are the organizations that help people develop and move through that humanness that end up being more effective at whatever it is they've come together to do. So some of you may remember that my very first book I ever wrote was called Step Back from the Baggage Claim, Change the World, Start at the Airport. Step back from the baggage claim, change the world, start at the airport. And yet, for those of you that know this very well, then you know the journey that I went on and the unbelievable time of my life that this was, and a real interesting time and wonderful journey that I was on. For those of you that don't know, it was a strange and wonderful journey that I embarked on back in 2008. And when I slept in 7 different airports over the course of 7 days without leaving the airports the entire time in order to attempt to write this book, Step Back from the Baggage Claim, Change the World, Start at the Airport. And I was there to observe human behavior. And the book certainly uses air travel as a metaphor, but it's about lessons for our own life. It was my own reflections and observations of where I was in my life, but also about how do we move throughout the world in our own life and certainly in our work, and using air travel as that metaphor. And fortunately, that air travel metaphor really resonated with a lot of people and helped lead to all the terrific dialogue and experiences and development and partnerships that have now taken place with different organizations ever since, of helping people step back and think about, well, what is the culture that we're trying to create? And how do we want to travel together? And to think about how are we developing our people along the journey? And is our mission, vision, and values clear? And to step back and say, how do we want to move throughout the world as individuals, but also as teams and organizations around our metaphorical baggage claim? So the idea of baggage has been with me for some time, and this metaphor has certainly been a very important one in my life and one that made a whole lot of sense to me. So when I work with leaders and teams and organizations nowadays on any of those types of initiatives, leadership development, of helping people better understand themselves and how are they developing as leaders, to any time that I'm helping an organization get more clear on their mission, their vision, their values, or we're engaged in a proactive culture shaping initiative to help them as a team and organization proactively shape the culture they want. Anytime I'm involved in these kind of things, we recognize that human beings are imperfect, that all of us are. And again, all an organization is a collection of humans, which means that we are going to be imperfect and our teams are going to be imperfect. And so I often talk about the fact that all of us as human beings carry baggage. We all have baggage. Again, because we're imperfect, we all have baggage. And there's 3 types of mental baggage that we all as humans carry. And so I want to talk about it on today's podcast. The 3 types of mental baggage that we all, every human carries are 1, events, 2, consequences, and 3 are thoughts. So let me break it down. The first type of mental baggage that all of us carry, the type of bag that we carry, comes from events. An event, that type of mental baggage, are things that happen to us that are out of our control. Things that happen to us that we couldn't plan, we couldn't predict. These are things that happen in our life or our work that are out of our control, and things that happen that we can't plan. And then because of that event that takes place, then there is baggage, there's stress, there's anxiety, there are obstacles and challenges that come from that, and there's baggage that then we carry with us. I'll give you some examples. The pandemic. That was an event that took place that was out of our control and something we didn't plan for. And yet because of all the details and all the situation around this global pandemic, that there was stress and anxiety and obstacles and challenge and baggage and loss of life, the most dramatic sense. And so the baggage that many people carried came from that, but it was an event that was out of our control. Sometimes when the economy shifts or something's happening that's out of our control, there's baggage that then we carry because of that. I know when I lost both my parents, both my parents passed away, when the period of time when they were both sick with different things but at the same time, there was stress and anxiety and challenges and baggage that I certainly was carrying then. And yet, if I'm honest, still some that I carry with me today. It was an event that happened in my life that was out of my control, but then baggage that I carried because of it. So we oftentimes, and that last example is a great example of this, that we can't just let go of this baggage. Sometimes we can identify that we just need to we're carrying some baggage that we need to just let go of. And other times, like the losing of my parents, that's not baggage that I can let go of, but I can be more conscious about how I'm going to carry that bag. And I need to be thoughtful about recognizing with gratitude all of the things that I was lucky to have with my parents. And then also know that that's baggage I will carry with me for my life of losing them and knowing that I love them dearly. So one type of mental bag that we carry are events that happen to us that are out of our control. The second type of mental baggage that we all carry are consequences. And consequences, this type of mental baggage is something that we have participated in hasn't gone the way that we hoped. So, we've played a role in something that didn't turn out the way that we hoped. And then there is baggage. There's stress, there's anxiety, there are challenges and obstacles that come with it. And so, examples of this could be how we just handled ourselves in a meeting, that we weren't proud of, the way we reacted to a situation. And then there's a consequence because of that. And there's baggage and stress and anxiety that comes from it. That email that we sent, that we hit the send button on that we wish we hadn't. And then there's, a consequence. There's baggage that comes with that because of a damaged relationship. The project that didn't end up the way that we planned and it wasn't what we had hoped for, but we played a role in that situation. There's a consequence from the fact that things didn't play out the way that we hoped. Something we participated in didn't go well, and then there's a consequence. And we then carry mental baggage with us because of that we played a role in. And the third main mental bag that we all carry, and perhaps the most significant, our own thoughts. This is perhaps the heaviest and biggest mental baggage that we all as human beings carry every single day are our own thoughts. The narratives, the stories that we tell ourselves about what's possible, what isn't possible, the stories we make up about in our own heads about ourselves and our capabilities, the stories we make up about other people, or the thoughts that we worry about that simply aren't true. These thoughts weigh us down and often keep us from moving forward. Research says that we as humans have anywhere between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts in an average day. I'll let you figure out whether or not you think you're on the 12,000 end or the 60,000 end or somewhere in between. But research says that we as humans have anywhere between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts in an average day. And research also says or shows us that 80% of those thoughts are identified as negative and 95% are repetitive. So research will tell us that many of the 80% of those thoughts that are going through our heads in an average day oftentimes have a negative slant to them, a worry, a story or a narrative that we're telling ourselves, and 95% of them are repetitive. So we have these narratives, these thoughts, these stories that we are telling in the back of our heads all day long, and the stories and narratives we tell ourselves in our own heads becomes a heavy load that we all carry. So all of us perform better when we are aware of the baggage that we're carrying. Again, we all carry it. So being aware of what are the bags that I'm carrying, and then making intentional decisions about which of those bags we need to let go of. What are those stories we're telling ourselves, those narratives, those thoughts that really aren't true, or they're not real, or we haven't confirmed them yet. And yet we find ourselves repeating that story in our own head that we just need to put that bag down. We need to let go of it so that we don't continue to carry it around. So sometimes it's about being aware of the baggage that we're carrying and then saying, what are we going to let go of? And then it's about also figuring out which are the ones that we can't let go of, such as the one of my parents. I'm not going to let go of that, but I do need to figure out how to carry that bag more gracefully and intentionally and with gratitude rather than with heaviness and sadness. I need to allow myself to feel those things, but eventually I can't just carry that heavy load with me around all the time. This happens to us, of course, individually, but then what we also notice, we all bring that to the teams and organizations we serve. And certainly in a team setting or in an organization setting, we also have team and organizational baggage that we carry. Events that happen, again, that impact the team or the organization that seemingly are out of our control. We have consequences that happen, things within our team or in the organization that don't go the way that we hoped, and then there's baggage because of it. And then there are narratives and stories and thoughts that we perpetuate as throughout our team and throughout our organization that also become baggage that we carry. And so being able to be aware of that, what are the bags we're carrying, and what are the ones we've got to let go of, and what are the ones that we just need to carry more gracefully. And every time we're able to do that and be more aware and intentional about that, our performance goes up. We spend less time carrying heavy things that keep us stuck where we are and allow ourselves freedom of movement and space to then be more effective in whatever it is that we're here to accomplish. So, some quick questions for us to ponder on this idea of mental baggage. What mental baggage do you find yourself carrying? What mental baggage do you find yourself carrying? What mental baggage is your team or organization carrying? And how could you acknowledge the baggage and help carry the baggage more gracefully? I hope today's episode got you thinking in some new ways. If a deeper dive into any of these topics is interesting to you, I hope you'll reach out to us, or if you have feedback in any way, info@jasonvbarger.com, info@jasonvbarger.com, and let us know. We'll continue to design content to help meet you where you are. Lastly, I hope you'll go back, listen to old episodes, past topics that there's so many, again, 220 episodes or so. Again, thanks to everybody who rates and reviews and does all that stuff. But I hope you'll go back and find the topics that are most beneficial to you and your team and share them with the people around you. So cheers to the path ahead, to all of us, and to remember that the future of leadership is you, is me, is us. And then we have an opportunity to get clear on the temperature that we're hoping to set, and then continue to be courageous and committed to breathing oxygen into our own mindsets, into our own actions, and to our own teams and organizations that will sustain us for the path forward. So step back, remember, be a thermostat, and breathe good oxygen.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast, and I hope the messages and questions stimulate positive change along your path. As always, if these messages resonate with you and add value to your life, I hope you'll help amplify them throughout the world. Please rate, comment, and share on whatever podcast or social media platform you're using, and share this podcast with the people in your life or work who should be part of these conversations. That way, this spirit does, in fact, spread. If these messages or developing leaders and culture would be helpful to you and your organization, please contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. And remember, we are all ambassadors for the culture we want to create in our life and work. We have to own the vision we want to be a part of. The future of leadership is you, is me, is us. Be a thermostat.